Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verse number 1. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik Tadrishyam Driktumanasam Drishyadhi Vrittaya Sakshi Drigeva Natu Drishyate. Number 5. Nodeti nastametyesha Navriddhim yati nakshayam Swayam vibhatyatha anyani Bhasayet sadhanam vina. Number 20. Asti bhati priyam rupam Nama chetyam shapanchakam Adyatrayam brahma rupam Jagat rupam tatodvayam. So now we will do verses numbers 36 and 37, which we will do today. So let's chant those. Number 36. Jivo dhis Jivo dhishthaschidabhaso Bhavet bhokta hi karma krite Bhogya rupamidam sarvam Jagat syad bhuta bhautikam. One more time. Jivo dhishthaschidabhaso Bhaved bhokta hit karma krite Bhogya rupamidam sarvam Jagat syad bhuta bhautikam. Then number 37. Anadikal kalamarabhya mokshat purvamidam dvayam vyavahare sthitam tasmat ubhayam vyavaharikam. One more time. Anadikalamarabhya mokshat purvamidam dvayam vyavahare sthitam tasmat ubhayam vyavaharikam. So let's follow the following. Let's follow this plan. We will do verses number 36 and 37, and then we will do a meditation. And this time, having completed all of the preparations for the meditation, we will straight away go into Nididhyasanam, and we will do the Nididhyasanam starting with verse number 20 today. Okay. So that's the plan. So in the last class, we had been talking about the commentary on a viewpoint of the commentary on verse number 35, where I had said that a key ingredient towards understanding the vision of Vedanta is to take responsibility in viewing oneself as the source of one's problems, and also responding. The Vedanta says that Ishvara is not different from you. It should be seen as working through you. And similarly, the Maya Shakti is not external to you. You should see that your own self-confusion is responsible for our life's problems, and the solution to also lies with us. And so this is an interesting thing, because the Vedanta doesn't want to overwhelm us. It knows that there is a certain growth involved in our lives, and it takes a while for us to get accustomed to it. So in the case of children also, you cannot inundate them with all kinds of sophisticated information. You have to go whatever they are able to tolerate in a given age bracket, and then slowly bring them up with better knowledge about it. So based on that, the Vedanta also says that in the beginning, Ishvara will be different from you. But that's not the final goal. So in the beginning, we are incapable of understanding that I and Ishvara are one and the same. And this is very natural. So the Vedanta also doesn't really overwhelm us with this example, that there is similarity, there is in fact the same thing, there's no difference between them. It doesn't overwhelm us with all of that. It goes through gradually. But at the same time, I think we should see where we are ending up with. So we may not be there at that point, but we should see that as a goal. And that goal is that our initial view, our preliminary view that the world I'm bothered by the world, is not the ultimate view. I am bothering myself with my view of the world. Similarly, Atma and Ishvara are just both as part of me alone, not just part of me, there is me alone, and they are not any separate from it. So this is kind of like a goal for some of us, and it should become a reality as we come closer to the goal. It should see, this is what is called sadhya becomes siddha. So there is a sadhana and sadhya. Sadhana means the means of achievement. Sadhya means what is to be achieved. Becomes siddha means already achieved. This is the goal that we have to see. So now one thing that I had promised to you, that there was a verse in Kathopanishad that exemplifies this point, and I had not articulated what verse it was, and we actually did this in the Purusha Suktam class on last Tuesday, so somewhat of a repetition. But let me mention it since I promised it to this class. Let's look at the verse in the Kathopanishad that talks about this. So this verse says, Na ayam atma pravachanena labhya na medhaya bahuna shrutena yameva esha vrinute tena labhya tasya esha atma vivrunute tanugum swam. And it's interesting that this verse appears in two different Upanishads. Kathopanishads number 1.1.23, and the same verse appears in Mundaka Upanishad in 3.1.3. Chapter 3, section 1, verse number 3. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhya na medhaya bahuna shrutena yameva esha vrinute tena labhya tasya esha atma vivrinute tanugum swam. So it means that a sense of freedom, a sense of having achieved everything that I wanted to achieve in my life. This is what is called Krita Krityata. Kritya means what is to be done, is done, Krita. Krita Krityata. So this feeling that whatever I needed to do, I am done. I am totally fulfilled. I am happy. There's nothing more that needs to be done. So this feeling, this is the labhya. This is what is to be achieved. He says, na ayam atma pravachanena labhya. Pravachanena labhya means that it cannot be just done by discussing and talking. So it doesn't mean that that there is a way to bypass discussing and talking and learning and chanting and attending classes. It doesn't mean that you can bypass all that, but it means just by that you don't get it. And this is our experience also, that you may feel good about attending classes, but you're not done yet. And you won't be done, according to our Shastra. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhya na medhaya. By medha shakti, by remembering it by heart. If you think that if I can just, chant this by heart, and if I can just learn it, maybe I would do it. No. Na bahuna shrutena. Bahuna shrutena means by attending many classes. Imagine that. I'm telling you that you should not be attending many. No, I'm not saying that. By just attending classes, you cannot really. Na bahuna shrutena. Okay, so this is what you cannot just by doing that. So what is it necessary for me to know? Yam esha vrinute is the key one. Yam esha vrinute tena labhya. Vrinute means the one where I decide this is what I really want to do. So this comes from the word vra, and so the same thing on varanam. So Sita's father had, as I mentioned in the class the other day, Janaka had said, so this was not an arranged marriage. So he said, you choose. You choose. This is called varanam, swayamvaram. Sita's swayamvaram. Swayamvaram means that you choose. You decide. Whoever you choose is okay with me. I'm not going to decide a husband for you. You choose your husband. And you need to decide who to do. So this could be called varanam. So yamesha eva vrinute. Vrinute means the one that you decide. This is important for me. And this decision will obviously be supported by attending classes, by remembering, by discussing, by talking about it, and so on. All of those kinds of things will slowly do it, but still does not act until we take ownership that this is what I have to do. This is my problem and I've got to solve it. I don't waste any time, as I mentioned before, in blaming myself or anyone else. This is the way it is. I am where I am because of so much that has gone by, and now I'm ready to rectify it and move ahead with it. So this is called vrinute. If you do that, tasya esha atma vivrinute. So vivrinute is a very interesting construction. Vivrinute means it opens up. It's a very, very funny situation that I am already alien to my own self. I'm alien to my own self. And I have to remove so I think the best analogy that I can think about that is that the sun is shining during the day. There is no obstruction. It's not you are in the night time. You're in the day. But you have closed the windows of your room so it is dark. And you cannot keep on saying, when is the sun going to come up? When is it coming? I'm waiting for it. Open up the windows and unblock the sun. So the sun shines into you not because it starts to do it. It was already there, but you had blocked it off. So he says, Yamesha vrinute. If you decide that this is important for me, then it opens up. It opens up. So I just wanted to complete the last class's thought by giving you this reference point. And if you want, you can see all of the commentary and Shankara Bhashya on these two verses, on these two different Upanishads, but the same verse. Na ayam atma pravachanena labhya na medhaya bahuna shrutena yamesha eva yam eva esha vrinute tena labhya tasya esha atma vivrinute tanugum swam. Tanugum swam means that the very body of the Atma, the sarvagatatvam of the Atma will become tangible to you if you really want it. So this is what is called Atma Kripa. I mentioned that in the other class also. Ishvara Kripa, Shastra Kripa, Guru Kripa. Your own Atma Kripa is the one that punctuates it to make it happen. Anyway, so that was last from the last time. Now briefly, let's look at verse number 36 and 37 before we do meditation. Right? So verse number 36 says, so verse number 36 is the continuation of the Vyavaharika Jiva. So remember, we had talked about three kinds of Jiva. So one was the Paramarthika Jiva, one was Vyavaharika Jiva, and one is the what's the word for it? I'm forgetting. Vyavaharika, Paramarthika, Vyavaharika, Pratibhasika Jiva. The third one is the Pratibhasika Jiva. So this is the Vyavaharika Jiva that we are discussing, number 35 and 36. So what the Vyavaharika Jiva is, Jivaha dhistachidabhasaha bhaved bhokta hi karmakrit bhogya rupamidam sarvam jagat syad bhuta bhautikam. So here, I think the best analogy of what the verse is talking about is the beginning of the dream experience. In the dream experience, consider what happens. So before you start dreaming, you are one person, isn't it? When you decide to go to sleep, you are a singular person. You have obviously thoughts and physiological functions that are going on, your digestion and blood flow, all of those kinds of things you are associated. But in and through all of that, you are a single person. And then you hit the pillow, you turn the light off, and you try to go to sleep. And you sleep. And then after having slept for a while, you now become a dreamer. So consider what happens in this transformation from a single person, which is a waker, to a dreamer. So what happens is that you split up into two. So the two of them is, you become a conscious dreamer. You take on an identity of a dream character, a dreamer. So you are now the experiencer of the dream. This is number one. So you split up into two. One waker splits up into two parts. One part is the dream character, and the other part is the dreamt characters. This is a fact. We're not making it up. And if you don't believe it, you just wait for the dream tonight. And when you wake up, see if it is valid or not. It's valid. So the Vyavaharika Sat. So here's the interesting thing. From here we can deduce that the Vyavaharika Sat is characterized by a seer and seen. So there are two parts to a Vyavaharika Sat. Vyavaharika Sat means transactional Sat, transactional Jiva. So the transactional Jiva, consider the fact that it has a seer and seen phenomena. So as a seer, you have a portion of your personality which reflects consciousness very well. It is something, it has a mind, and so this is exactly what why people say that how is it that I am able to see the Atma in my mind, in my brain. Why can't I see it elsewhere? Why can't I see the Atma in the table? The reason is that the Sukshma Sharira is the one which is polished enough to be able to reflect the consciousness. Very much like if the sun is falling in a room that has a mirror and a lot of other things in the walls, tables, etc. So the sun is actually shining on all of them, but the one that is shining in the mirror reflects the sun very accurately because it is made up of some sukshma vastu, means very subtle. That means that the mirror has to be made up of very finely sanded things that are polished. And if you do all of that, then it is able to reflect the sun accurately. Whereas the wall is also a jadavastu, it is also inert like a mirror, but it has not been fine-tuned, it is very rough. I bet if you were to keep on sanding it and sanding it and sanding it, it's very possible that you can see some sun, but nothing like the mirror. So in that sense, our mind is like the mirror because it reflects the sun very well. And then what I'm seeing is that I have things that are made up that I'm able to see, cognize. It's very much like the dream. So the dreamer becomes an intelligent dreamer, and it is able to articulate everything that it sees, including some people that are moving around, situations, tables, chairs. There could be sun and a moon also, Agni, fire, everything's there as seen. In fact, it talks about it here, he says. So here's what it says. Now let me connect it to the verse so you can see. He says, Jivaha here means that the waking world, the waking person, Chidabhasaha dhi. It is reflecting the Chit. Chidabhasa means Chit Abhasa. Abhasa means close to being the Chit. Not the Chit itself, but a reflection of the Chit. So the Dhihi, which is the mind, which is the brain. Brain, of course, is the physical mechanism that creates the mind. Dhihi is reflecting the Chit. So that's why it is called Chidabhasaha. And becomes an experiencer. So it says that I'm experiencing. It's like a dream again. The dreamer is an experiencer. Bhokta. And karmakrit. Karmakrit means it does things. It instructs the body, get up, move your hand, put it on the table, close your eyes, open the eyes. This is the karmakrit. And also it is the bhokta. Bhokta means it's the experiencer of everything. So it says, supposing you hit the table very hard, there's a certain noise and a certain feeling of the table. If you hit it extremely hard, there's a little pain involved. So this is the bhokta. So you have karmakrit and bhokta. This is all to do with the seer, which is the dhi. Then in the second line it says, Bhogya rupam idam sarvam jagat syat bhuta bhautikam. So like in a dream also, Bhogya rupam idam jagat. What is experienced becomes the jagat. And it has two parts to it. Bhutam and bhautikam. Bhutam means the essential parts of the jagat, which is 5 of them as you know. Akasha, space, Vayu, air, Agnihi, fire, Apaha, which is water, and Prithvi, which is solidity. These are the individual bhutas. And then there derivatives, which is called bhautikam. So derivatives are not pure Pancha Mahabhuta, but combination of Pancha Mahabhuta. So there you can say, like a table is now a combination of all five. It takes up some space. It has some air in it. It has some warmth. It has some water is there, and of course lots of Prithvi. So all things are there like that, a combination of this. So this is called Bhuta Bhautikam. So he says this is what the Vyavaharika Jiva becomes. So the Vyavaharika Jiva splits up into two, just like in a dream. One is the dreamer and one is the dreamt. And so that just means, what it really means is that you are really one person, because the dreamer and the dream are a superimposition, a sense of falseness and temporary. It's not the final form of it. The final form of the dreamer is the waker. Because poof, just like that, the alarm rings, the dream is gone, the dreamer also goes, the dreamt also goes, then it becomes back to one person again. So similarly here what will happen is that once we really understand that myself as the karta and myself as the bhokta is not my reality, even though it seems like it, but I am really two people. I am also the bhokta, I am also the bhogya. And once this thing is very clear, both of these collapse into a single person, which is the Atma, which is Turiya in what we studied in the Mandukya Upanishad. Anyway, that will happen later on, but this is how we progress into it. So this is called the Vyavaharika Jiva. Okay. And then number 37, it says, Anadikalam arabhya bhokshat purvam idam dvayam vyavahare sthitam tasmat ubhayam vyavaharikam. So then it talks about this Vyavaharika Jiva that we talked about in 36. What is the past and the future of it? That's what it talks about. So as far as the past is concerned, it says Anadikalam arabhya. In fact, in this construct there is a self-contradiction. In this construct of Anadikalam arabhya, it's a contradiction, self-contradiction. What is the self-contradiction? Arabhya means having begun. Having begun. Okay, having begun means what? When did it begin? Anadikalam. Anadikalam means Adi yasya na vidyate. It is Anadihi. Means that one that never began. So an interesting construct. One having begun when it never began. The fact of the matter is, it's just a way of saying it. It means that it is beginningless. It is happening beginningless. Just happening, beginning. It's always been like that. So beginning, you can say that it's a temporary beginning. Like for example, the dream is a temporary beginning. means that it began and it'll end again, and then it'll begin again. In fact, the word sometimes used for jiva, it's an interesting word. It's called jantu. You will often see this word in the Shastra called jantu. The jantu means one which is continuously being born. So Maheswaranji had pointed this out. If you look at the phenomena of jantu, we are constantly being born. Yesterday was a birth of my personality for that time. Then I got born into a dreamer. Then I was born as a sleeper. And now back again in the morning as a waker. And then I might take a nap, or I might be changing. I am changing, I'm being born second to second to second. New person, new person. It's a continuous change. I'm being born every second, changing. It's called jantuhu. So this is what is called anadikalam arabhya, means that how long have I been a jiva? Was I a jiva before something? No, I've always been a jiva. This is the fact. I never had a beginning. And if there is a beginning, it is a kind of a relative beginning. So I was a child, now my teenagership began. And then I became an adult, then I became a middle-ager, now I'm an old person. And then I may die, and I may be born again someplace else. Always changing. Somewhere or the other I'm always there. So this is the interesting thing. We should see, we should convert we should convert a false sense of my form to a true sense of my form. What do you mean by that? A false sense of my form is linear. I was born on such, this is what happens when a person dies. On their tombstone, both the beginning and the end is written. It's interesting to see the obituary in the paper, and you often say, "My gosh, he died, he was younger than me." Like that. So you can see the beginning and the end. So it's a linear line. I was born in 1937, and this person was born in 37, he died in 2012. Like that. So it's a linear. This is a false form. The true form is a circle. Straight line is not true. In fact, the whole creation is in the form of circles. It's continuous. What I don't realize is that what I see myself as a straight line is not a straight line. It is simply a surface of a very large circle. Right? So if you have a very large circle, it looks like it is straight here, but it isn't. It curves around. How does it curve around? Because I go through some more births. I have to now regroup and figure out what else is going on. What else is going on, and how else will I take another birth? Who is my father? Who is my mother? So I may be asleep for a while until all of this is figured out. Then he says, "Okay, you're ready to go again." And then so this is all described in great detail. It's called Panchagni. How through the rains I fall, and then through the Oshadhi, and then I am in the womb of my mother, and then I'm impregnated, the mother is impregnated, and then I make into a baby. All of this goes on. And so this is a circle. So this is what is called Anadi Kalam Arabhya. Then, is it going to go on forever? No. Mokshat Purvam Idam Dvayam. So now it's interesting, you can say, it says that before I understand that I am not any one of these, when I really wake up, then these two things, what two things? Jiva and Jagat, Bhokta and Bhogya, they both are there from a long time. So this is Vyavaharikam, Vyavahare Sthitam, but in moksha they disappear. This whole circle gets, there is no circle. It is just a make-believe, and just like a room space was never really separate from the space, it has always been the space. And for a while, for a long time, you can say, when were you a room space? How long did you, when you began? He says, I don't know. I've always been space. And then at the end of that, you become space again. So these are a description of the Vyavaharika Jiva. We had already done the Paramarthika Jiva before, then the Vyavaharika Jiva, and then we will do the Pratibhasika Jiva next time. So with that, the discourse part of today's class is over, and now we can get into meditation. So for about maybe between 20 minutes to half hour, we will do meditation. So let's start with that. Om Pratarsmarami Hridi Samspuradaatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Abaiti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. I meditate upon the meaning of the verse Asti bhati priyam rupam nama chaiti vansha panchakam adyatrayam brahma rupam jagat rupam tatodvayam. Asti bhati priyam. This Brahma Rupam. Asti, existence, isness. Bhati, knowledge, awareness, consciousness. Priyam, love, joy, pleasantness, happiness. Comfort. Same as Satchit Sukham. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satchidanandam. In all these, there are three aspects to everything, including myself. Asti bhati priyam. If we look into it, you find that the entire life, the entire world all experiences, everything, including my own, have something common to them. And that is Asti bhati priyam. There is nothing at any time at any place And under any circumstance, is it possible for Asti Bhati and Priyam to be absent? I am. And to know that I am. The awareness that I am. And at no point does this ever disappear. Never. Nama Rupam are names and forms that come and go. That I am young, that I'm old, I am a waker, I am a dreamer. I am hungry. I am here. Are all names and forms. They are born out of Asti Bhati Priyam. They are sustained by Asti Bhati Priyam. And they are dissolved back into Asti Bhati Priyam. But Asti Bhati Priyam is always there. Asti Bhati Priyam is my essential nature. It is the intrinsic me. Nama Rupa is incidental. Nama Rupa is but my ornamentation. Asti Bhati Priyam is the gold. May I learn this distinction clearly again and again. O Ishvara, please help me in appreciating and enjoying my essential nature. Asti bhati priyam. O Ishvara, help me to disregard Nama-rupa, my ornamentation. With your help, O Ishvara, may I appreciate my true self, which is the true self of all, Brahman, the true self of all. O Ishvara, may I also appreciate the true self of all, and disregard merely the incidental Nama-rupa of others. Om. Pradarsmarami Hridi Samspuradatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Abhaiti Nityam Tat Brahmanishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangaha. O Ishvara, as I get up in the morning, from slumber and dreaming, may my mind appreciate that I am none other than Satchit Sukham, Asti Bhati Priyam, which is the Swarupa of Brahman. Or the Atma, and not Namarupa, Nacha Bhuta Sangaha, not the various combination of Bhutam and Bhautikam. Om Pratarsmarami Hridi Samsphuratma Tattvam. In my heart, which is constant, a constant reminder, firmly rooted in my mind. Shridi Samsparadatma Tattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sajgutim Gatim Purturiyam, which is the ultimate truth as independent of all kartritvam and bhoktritvam. Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam. Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptam Avaiti Nityam Tat Brahma Nishkalamaham. I am that Brahma which doesn't have any parts, which is the essential, unchanging Asti Bhati Priyam, Nacha Bhuta Sangaha, not a combination of Nama Rupa. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. For some reason, I am not able to see the people in the chat window. Something is not quite right. I think a couple of people have come in. I see Ganesan and Barbara Whiteman, and that's it. So I don't know where everybody else is. So I'm not able to answer any questions that you may have. So I have to figure out why this is happening. Let me play around a little bit. I see about 20-25 people, but their names are not visible. Anyway, so hopefully if you had any questions, I can answer that from email standpoint. But in the meantime, hope you enjoy these sessions with meditation. We will continue to do that from now on. Nididhyasanam, starting with verse number 20. And then we will do Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhis next time. So it will form a nice grouping. So with that, I close the class and hopefully we'll see you next week. Om.